Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Veg Networking Canada, where vegan plant-based companies connect and collaborate. Before we get into our special guest today, it's important that we go through our land acknowledgement, that we honor, acknowledge, and respect that many of us are located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of many Indigenous peoples of Canada. So here we are again at Veg Networking Canada to have another great conversation with another great entrepreneur. She has been in the film and television makeup artist industry for over 30 years, a trailblazing pioneer of the green beauty movement, an innovative and high-performing entrepreneur with a passion for women-led standards in business. Veg Networking Canada is pleased to introduce the founder of Sappho New Paradigm Cosmetics, JoAnn Fowler. Welcome, JoAnn.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for having me, Justin. Wonderful to be here.
So we're going to dive right into our first question for you, which is, can you share a little bit more about the vegan plant-based origin story behind Sappho?
Well, yes, when I first created my first line, which was in 2008, the basis for that was safety. And I was never really aware of what was in cosmetics. So I didn't even know at the time that they had used or that they were using animal products in cosmetics. And my first one was not vegan. And when I found out, and I was clearly it's crushed fuels and gives red lipstick. And so, when I found this out, I was just horrified. And then of course, as we learned over time about, the effect that, large farming on bees and all of that kind of stuff, and what that effect has on our environment, our bodies, everything. When I came to reimagine any animal products to adorn ourselves, we love to adorn ourselves. We should be able to do it safely and without harming ourselves or any sentient beings. So that was sort of, it was just really wanting to offer a product to the world that was good on all sorts of levels, and certainly being vegan was important.
Got it.
And now it's frozen again. Okay.
Yeah, got it. So diving into your own personal entrepreneur origin story, many times when we speak to folks, the current business that they have was not their original entrepreneur spark or spirit, but sometimes it is. So can you share a little bit more about when and how you sort of got that entrepreneurial bug, as they say?
Well, I've got to tell you, I have never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I never aspired to own a business. I never wanted to own a business. I never wanted to sell anything. I was doing a makeup makeup on Mia Kirshner, a Canadian actress, on a show called The L Word. And she said, JoAnn, I'm not wearing any more parabens in my makeup. And I said, well, Mia, I don't know what you're talking about. So maybe you'd like to let me know. And she had been living in Europe at the time. And so she started to let me know about the 1,300 plus toxic chemicals that they had taken out of their products and why. And my mom had died of cancer. My sister has leukemia. My brother had Hodgkin's disease. When I was 7 years old, they wrote a book about a little girl in my town that died of leukemia. I mean, now they would have to write a lot of books. So, 2008, and I phoned my friend Norma Patton. I said, did you hear about this? She was from, England originally. She's Hallie's makeup artist. And she said, no, but I have this book. And it's called Just Not a Pretty Face, or Not Just a Pretty Face. And the first paragraph was all about, that they found over 287 chemicals, including petrochemicals, flame retardants, PCBs, in this blood core of 287 infants still in the hospital across the United States in 2004. My life changed. What we put on our body goes into our bloodstream. And now we have patches. So, you know, I don't have to go into that anymore. I don't have to explain it to anyone anymore. But, you know, that's what really changed my life. And so I created this. Okay, so we got cut off there a little bit, so I'm going to go back. But so after I read all of this, I decided to create a line in my makeup trailer that I could use for myself to see me through the rest of my career. I was almost ready to retire. I was 50. And, you know, what happened then was that, you know, people got hold of it and people wanted it. And then this sort of, I got thrown into the world of manufacturing and creating a line. And I really, you know, was, it took, I've been running after it ever since it started, basically. Now I did lose my first company to an investor that wanted to put chemicals back in the makeup and not tell people. I won a court case. He had 4 lawyers to start. I had just me. It was in small claims court. And I did it because I just, you know, there was no reason for me to start a company other than wanting to provide clean makeup. And that's still my position today. So, and there are things that are happening in our marketplace today that are, again, it's sort of like starting all over again because now we have these PFAS. So, so it's an ongoing, you know, labor of love at this point. And that's sort of my entrepreneur story. It was like by mistake. But you know, it's something that every day I feel, and I feel very passionate about, and every day I want to get up and I want to work towards, you know, leaving this planet a little bit better than when I came in.
Precisely, exactly. And that's a common thread for a lot of us and a lot of folks who are going to be listening, is finding people in the, leaving people on the planet better than we found them. Now, in terms of trends that you notice in your industry, you mentioned clean makeup, and then in the intro, your bio, we talked about green beauty. So in the green beauty and the clean makeup space, or outside of that, your call, what are some trends that you're seeing in the industry?
Well, you know, I think still, you know, the emphasis is going to be on skin and on eyes. You know, we're still living in this society where people are, you know, wearing masks, where we're, you know, it's still sort of touch and go. So it's still sort of, but it's more natural look than we've seen in a long time. And I'm really welcoming that in terms of brows and stuff. And I think it's, you know, it's just really about having, you know, a very natural look. And the silicones are starting to sort of fade away. And that's kind of what's happening, I think, all across the board. I think that women are paying more attention to just sort of being themselves and letting their own skin look its best rather than covering it up with a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, I think it's kind of healthy. I think it's good. And you're frozen again.
Well, hopefully that is a trend that sticks around, is the internalizing our each unique beauty and letting that shine through versus covering it up, so to speak. So in terms of Sappho New Paradigm Cosmetics, where is your business going in the future?
Well, what we are really dedicated to right now is the new scientific research on PFAS and organic fluorine. And we are dedicated to creating a line that is as clean, as is absolutely possible, without petrochemicals, and without any kind of silicones, and with undetected, it's undetected organic fluorine under 10 parts per million is basically as clean as you can get in this world at this particular point with all the new science, and that's where we want to be. So that's what we're working towards. We're a very small company, but it has to be a curated, bespoke, clean line. Otherwise, there's no reason for me to be in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming through loud and clear on that. Definitely there's a purpose and a mission, and it's not just to earn revenue, so to speak. That's coming through. So the next question that we have for folks is always prefaced by saying there's no right or wrong answers. Maybe it's something that the company has done, or maybe the founder has done personally in the past, currently, or maybe looking at doing in the future. And that question is, does Sappho support any charities?
Yes, we do. Ever since the inception, we've donated to the Canadian Breast Cancer Fund, which is a fund that funds men and women with breast cancer that are in treatment that need financial help. So if they need babysitting money, or if they need heat money, or they need financial help, they can go there and actually get that kind of help rather than go into the whole medical system. Rather than helping the medical system, because they have a lot of help already. So there's that, and that's been going on since 2008. We're very small, so it's we have it on our website, and we donate pieces of parts of our donations from our products, but we also work with, right now we have a red lipstick, a red lip gloss that is vegan. It does use a FD&C dye, which we probably will not make again. So it's a limited edition. It's absolutely beautiful. And we're donating almost all the proceeds after cost, in fact, all the proceeds after cost, to the Kalala Lehman Indigenous Health and Healing Center in downtown East Vancouver. I can't say it, I'm all dyslexic today now. I was a childcare counselor for 12 years before I became a makeup artist. So I worked in the East End for many years as a childcare counselor. So we also donate to, we were working with the Overly Creative Minds program as well with UNIA. But since COVID, they're a youth organization for Indigenous kids, teenagers. But their programs are less artistic now. They're more sort of coping since COVID. So we've worked with a number of individuals from there, doing makeup and that kind of stuff. So, we are very small, but we do what we can. And we certainly support all social programs, and anyone that writes us, we usually throw in, and so there's like a lot of organizations, small organizations mostly, but anything from, girls to vegan, places and auctions and stuff. Anytime we can, we support.
Well, don't take too much advantage of that, folks who are listening, that generosity there. But if you have something that you have up, there's some purpose-driven value alignment there. I'm sure JoAnn would be welcome to receive your note and your email there and work on something together with you. So those are amazing ways to give back. So thank you for sharing. And our next question kind of jumps back into sort of you putting on your founder hat. And it's, do you have any favorite books, podcasts, or even mobile apps on your phone that you use to help you stay organized or stay calm or anything like that? So do you have any recommendations for books, podcasts, and apps that other founders or entrepreneurs might not know about?
Not really. I am actually reading not just A Pretty Face again. but I read it all the time. So it's kind of my Bible. And in terms of entrepreneurship, I just read articles. I go on LinkedIn and I look for articles, and I do a lot of trade podcasts and sort of Vancouver, Trade Commission workshops and stuff like that. That's where I find the best knowledge for me, is looking for specific workshops on things. A lot of Beauty Independent was really important to me through particularly the beginning of the pandemic. Not so much anymore. I specifically really, because I get invited to a lot of stuff through my business. That's what we do. Or if we're, there's so much information out there. So I don't have any favorites. I don't think I can't.
No,
I do consult the EWG, the Environmental Working Safe Cosmetics page, Skin Deep. But keep in mind that the number one doesn't always mean good, especially if there's no testing. But I do, that's the resource I use all the time.
Oh, that's a great resource. EWG, a lot of us listening are going to know that from the EWG Clean 15 Dirty Dozen. But of course, like you said, not only what you're consuming in terms of food and drink, but what you put on your skin, is a value to look into as well. So thank you for sharing that resource. And I'm sure a lot of people haven't read or don't know about Not Just a Pretty Face. So thanks for that book recommendation as well. So in terms of what you do in your business, you can think of this from within your industry sphere or maybe in a completely different industry. But the question is around inspiration. Are there any groups, founders, organizations, local or across the globe that you look at and draw inspiration from?
Most of my inspiration is, I'm a creative. So when I think of inspiration, it's mostly around art. And line. So my favorite part of my job is, of course, working in the design process with a designer, of course. But I don't really know how to answer that question. Because again, I'm not a business person. I never studied business. So I have learned everything as I go along, and I research all the time. I'm reading all the time. If like I said, I did a 2-year court case by myself. I was, looking, delving into Harvard School of Law to find out how to write stuff and how to, present it and all that kind of stuff. So I'm I'm a student. I'm a real student. So I'm all over the place. I really am. No, I mean, just my executive director will tell you.
Well, like all of our questions, there's no right or wrong answers. And that what you just said leads nicely into the sort of final question we have for you, which is centered around advice or wisdom or tips that you've learned and things that you've learned along the way that might help other people. And you gave kind of one piece of advice in the answer to your last question, which is, look internally for inspiration, find inspiration inside and figure out maybe how you can do it yourself kind of thing, and learn through it rather than maybe through somebody else or through something else. So without putting words in your mouth, with all of that being said, are there any nuggets, wisdom, or tips that you have found for yourself that you think sharing might help someone else?
Get a good accountant. Number one. I'm very serious about that. I'm very serious about that. It will save you so much headache and stress to have someone that is like got your book set up, everything set up right from the get-go. It is very well worth that. That to me, I'm a mere dyslexic. Numbers don't come easy. That kind of paperwork doesn't come easy. So that to me, and find yourself. I work with a woman named Noemi Claypool, and she's our director of sales and marketing. And she's what I'm not. She's very detailed orientated. She's also very creative and very, so it's kind of great when you work with people that are kind of opposite, that they offer, and you can listen to and you can learn from. And for someone that's an artist like myself, I need someone to rein me in on things. And sometimes she needs my inspiration. And sometimes I see details in makeup that she doesn't see. And it's to work with people too, that push you to be a better you, she walks my path of ethics and keeps me in line if I stray. And so I think find a good team, find people that you respect and honor them. Yeah.
Well, that last piece is huge, right? It's because we've all heard surround yourself with great people and all of that. But to your last very poignant point about honoring them and figuring out what does that actually look like and how do you actually honor those relationships, that's a huge little maybe overlooked nugget. And then you had said, number one, you were very clear about number one, hire and find a great accountant. And I'm personally in agreement with that. And then secondly, basically find your lane, be the best, and then hire for the rest. And in that, you're not going to have to put on 1,000 hats and divert your attention all over the place. You can be your best self and have the strong systems around you. And to your point as well, too, having people who around you who might make you be a little bit uncomfortable, who might challenge your growth, who do bring the best out in you and not just, the typical, for lack of a better word, yes men people around. So that's really, really great wisdom and advice that I'm sure a lot of people can touch on. Now, JoAnn, those all the questions we have for you, the conversation starters, if you would, that we have for you. But with that being said, is there anything that came up in this conversation that you want to mention now, or maybe any announcements before we let people know where they can find out more on your website and on Instagram?
No, it's just that I have an immense respect for the vegan community, and everything that we're all working for in a better world. And and I'm really appreciative of being asked to attend today. So yeah, that's about it.
Well, thank you so much for carving out some of your time. And again, these conversations that we have with founders and entrepreneurs, it's sort of, some things are timely, but a lot of the conversations is sort of evergreen content that lives forever in the ether, where these things end up landing, which is going to be on YouTube and LinkedIn and all these other digital media places. So for everybody listening, whether it is connecting on a product level, an idea level, a fundraiser, whatever it might be, JoAnn sounds like, she's an open book and warm and welcome. You can find out more online, www.mysappho.com. Sappho is spelled Sappho. Sappho. So it's mysappho.com, and Instagram is at @my_Sappho. So thank you so much, JoAnn. All the best to Sappho New Paradigm Cosmetics, and everybody else. We'll catch you soon on another episode of Edge Networking Canada. Take care. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.